Center for the Ethiopian Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on conventional signs and symbols on topographic maps. Last time, you learned about the word topography, which is Greek in origin. You learned that topography means to explain or describe places. You also learned about the many uses of topographic maps. They can help us understand the physical aspects of a region, show us the extent to which humans have interfered with a region, and help engineers plan the layout and design of a geographic area. In today's lesson, you will learn about the different symbols that are used on topographic maps. These symbols represent features of a region that are natural and human-made. You will learn how to identify the different symbols, and you will discuss why it might be important to be aware of the different features they represent. Students, if you are ready, then we will get started. It is important to be able to read and interpret maps. In order to do so, it is vital to have a good understanding of the different signs and symbols that are used on maps. The signs and symbols on topographic maps are listed and explained in the map's key or legend, like the one you see here. Different countries use different signs and symbols on their topographic maps. Even within a country, the signs and symbols that are shown on topographic maps can vary. This is due to the varying scales and aerial extents of the maps. In addition, different maps depict different regional features. Therefore, they require varying signs and symbols. Students, you have already learned about a variety of conventional signs and symbols throughout your studies of geography. Please list as many as you can now. Describe each and draw a sketch to represent what the signs and symbols would look like on a topographic map. Keep this list, as you will be using it to complete the next activity as well.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up! Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello, students. I wonder how many conventional signs and symbols you were able to recall. Let us list a few together. Many topographic maps contain forests or woodlands, which are represented as small trees or tree clusters. Towns or areas with permanent buildings, including public buildings, are represented as clusters of blocks. Tukul or other small buildings are shown as dots. Different types of roads and trails are depicted as varying lines, and power lines are shown as lines with chevrons beneath them. The symbol that depicts an international border is a thick red line with plus symbols across it. Students, at the end of this lesson, compare your list with those of your classmates. Make sure to add any signs or symbols you may have forgotten to your own list. In our last lesson, you learned about the many different uses of topographical maps. Let us now do a related activity. Using the list of signs and symbols you just created, please describe why it would be useful for someone to be aware of each feature that the signs and symbols represent. For example, it would be useful for a tourist to be aware of where the international border is if they were trying to travel from Ethiopia into Kenya. Go ahead and get started now.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, students. I hope this activity allowed you to use your imagination and helped you to realize the importance of knowing how to interpret conventional signs and symbols. It would be important for city planners, engineers, and construction workers to know where the forests and wooded areas are in a region. If they were building new roads and buildings, they would need to be aware of areas that needed to be deforested first. If a family were moving to a new area, it would be important for them to know whether or not there is a school, hospital, and church close by that they can attend. They might also want to know if there are other houses and businesses in the area, and whether there are power lines in the region. A geographer studying the physical aspects of the land might want to know about the depressions and contours of the area. This would help him to better determine the geological forces responsible for the land's formation. Were your answers similar to mine? If so, you did a great job. In today's lesson, you learned a lot about conventional signs and symbols that are used in topographical maps. You recalled signs and symbols you learned in previous geography lessons, and you practiced sketching and describing the signs and symbols. You also thought of some reasons why it would be important to know how to interpret certain signs and symbols on a topographic map, such as for travel, development, or study purposes. This brings us to the end of our lesson for today. In your next lesson, you will learn about the study of distribution maps. Until next time, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.